Wendy, you just gave the opening keynote for the day. The house was packed, standing room only. You talked about don't just do content, only do good content. You talked about paramount consistency, and you said be hyper relevant. How are you doing these things? Why are things working so well?
Well, if we're honest, we do them at varying levels of goodness. So it's a journey for all of us. When we're at our best, that's what we're doing. So it's more about the principle and the practice. But, I think as we were talking about, the world is not suffering from a lack of content. And I think marketers need to wake up to that 6,000 individual brand impressions every day is the average consumer's exposure to brands. So if that's the case, we have to figure out a way to cut through that, right? We have to figure out a way that our brands and our stories can get through. So if you're looking at ideas and you're looking at campaigns that simply are just they're just mediocre, you're just wasting your money because it's not going to get through. So you've got to drive for good. You got to drive for ideas that just keep you up at night, kind of wrestling with how to do them and how to do more of them. And that's sort of how we think about it.
Talk with me about Liquid and Linked.
Well, Liquid and Linked has sort of become our name for our agenda. And we want liquid content that can sort of be uncontainable, that can flow through all of these endpoints, which, we fundamentally believe that everything communicates. It's a dynamic environment, so our content has to be very malleable and pliable to sort of flow through. But at the same time, it has to stay linked to the company or the brand's agenda and ambition. So back to more content. If it's off strategy, it's not useful to us. So it has to stay linked to that strategy, has to stay linked to the outcome of driving value and a shared value at that. And so, we don't want it to be so uncontainable and so loose that it doesn't have meaning for our brands or for our company or for the world.
Looking at this last year, can you tell me your favorite campaigns that you worked on or projects and your most successful ones, and were they the same?
Oh, that's a good question. There's so much good work across our company, so it's hard. It's like picking between children. The campaign that North America is running right now, I think is going to be a great one. We don't have results yet because it's running right now, but it's the Arctic Home campaign, where we've partnered with WWF about building a refuge for polar bears in the north of Canada. Real consumer engagement around this issue. So, texting in your support and we will match that support. I think the aspects of the promotion are very interesting and that it involves consumers. It involves something that a shared value, something that's going to make the world better. It involves a great partner of ours, WWF. And we're using owned, earned, shared, and paid media really effectively. So probably the most dramatic thing we've done in the campaign is not a paid aspect. It's turning our CocaCola red cans white. And doing something that emblematic around your advertising, I think, is significant. So I would say that's one of the high points I would point out right now. Our most successful campaigns aren't necessarily our largest or most prominent. They're the ones that are most anchored to consumers and most anchored to authentically what the brand can stand for and what consumers want from that brand. So they can be some things that are sort of very small in their scale, but very poignant and prominent, like the campaign I showed from Hong Kong, the Chuck campaign, right? In Hong Kong, that has become a phenomenon, using your mobile phone and capturing those caps. And so like deep integration of the connection points, but highly innovative and sort of become this phenomenon now. People in movie theaters shaking their phone at a screen is really sort of interesting, right?
Let me close with blending two questions into one. What are you doing in mobile? And two, what's coming up over this next year?
What are we doing in mobile? What are we not doing in mobile? We look at mobile, I think, the full spectrum of marketing. So we fundamentally believe we can brand build with mobile, and we do, all the way through to transaction. So we're doing everything you expect to do: social gaming, augmented reality, PIN code redemption, as you heard, down to location-based executions, hyper-local executions, and then, of course, Google Wallet and mobile commerce. So we really look at it horizontally as an impact for our company. So we've got bets placed in all of that. Some of them will work, to Rennie's point, some of them won't work, and that's okay. That's how we're going to learn mobile. Mobile, in and of itself, though, is the most important medium for us. It's the closest in. It's the most compelling, particularly for teens. Mobile is a passion point for teens, the same way music and sports is, the mobile phone is. So we've got to be there, and we've got to figure out how to tell great stories that motivate our consumers there. What was the second part of the question?
What's coming up this next year?
What's coming up Olympics 2012 is coming up this next year. And so that's going to be a very, very big execution for us. The big assets are things that we get up for and really activate it system-wide. So we're going to be doing some very, very interesting work on Olympics 2012. They're very excited about lots of innovation going on there. So I'll let you wait and see. And then we've already, as you would expect a company our size to do, we've already kicked off work on FIFA 2014. So that's well underway, and we will be digging into that next year. It's going to be unbelievably good.
Coca-Cola, a brand we love to follow. We can't wait to see what's coming up. Thank you so much, Wendy.
Thanks.